I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of a redo on the lesson 7 practice. We're going to go ahead and get that done now. Let me show you the screen. I'm sorry, not lesson 7 practice. The lesson 7 try, the doing of the quick demonstration for what you need to know about entering formulas. Okay, so if you open up E07 try, it's a real quick little spreadsheet. Cost basis is the first thing that we're going to look at here. These are all about stocks. These are stock names. These are stock prices. This is how much of that stock that you bought. Therefore, if you do a quick calculation of B4 times C4, you can see that those stock prices add up to basically costing that much. Now, in the stock market game, you have to pay someone to buy the stocks for you, and that's called commission. Okay, so you add the amount and the commission, and like if you only buy like one stock and it costs you $29, but then you have to pay somebody $9 to buy the stock. Is it really worth it? That's kind of what the commission, the cost basis and the commission percentage is looking at. You want to make sure that you are doing things that aren't costing you tremendous amounts of money for very little gain. Okay, so the cost basis, very simply, we're going to click on cell F4 here, and we're going to type in a quick formula. First off, all formulas start with the equal sign. If you want Excel to do math, you're going to throw an equal sign down, and then you're going to tell it what you need it to do. That says to Excel, hey, do some math on this stuff, and then give me the answer that you come up with. Okay? So what happens now is we say D4 plus E4. So we're going to say equals D4. Now look on the right-hand side of your keyboard. You can see on the little number pad, you can have a plus sign and do it that way, E4. D4 plus E4. Notice something else. The D4 is blue, and then the actual cell D4 has a blue background. The letters and numbers in E4 are red, and they are showing up also here with a red background cell. This kind of shows you if you've got the right thing and if you're looking in the right places. For example, if I typed in E3 by accident, I can clearly see that something is amiss here, and obviously that's not what I wanted to have happen. So B4 plus B4, press enter. All right, so now those two things add together. These two add together to form this. Okay, and that is the cost of everything involved in figuring out how much money it's going to cost me to buy these stocks. Okay, and now let's see about something else. How about we do some multiplication? Okay, let's go ahead down here to D5. Type in equal sign. Another way to get that cell typed up, instead of typing it with the keyboard, you can just click on things with your mouse. But first you have to press the equal sign. Now let's do B5. Click on that. Hit the star key. The star key is what does multiplication in Excel. You can also find that over here on the right-hand side of your keyboard in the number pad area above the number 9. Now also click on C5. So B5 times C5. Don't forget the equal sign in front. Press enter. Aha. That is a quick and dirty for that one. All right. Finally, let's go over here to G4. I need one more calculation here. The commission percentage. We're going to say equal sign, and we're going to go ahead and say the commission percentage is E4, do it whatever way you like, divided by F4. Okay, press enter. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm going to do this for demonstration, but you don't have to. Keep in mind that Excel is a math program, and it loves to do PEMDAS kind of stuff. It knows all those PEMDAS rules, and it will do them very effectively. Now, whether or not you, human, give it the right instructions to do the thing that you need to have done correctly, that's another matter entirely, and that's where a lot of people screw up in Excel. You have to be very careful about how you structure your formulas to make sure you get the results that you want. For example, you could do something real quick the hard way. For cost basis, you don't necessarily need to create this D column. For cost basis, you could just say share price here times, that's B5, hit the times key, the star, asterisk, whatever, C5 plus E5. You could do those, type it in, and you'll get the right answer, and that's fine and dandy. Okay, it's a little bit of a roundabout way to get there. Okay, instead of just saying D5 plus E5, you could say B5 times C5, which is what D5 is, and then say plus E5. And that gives you the same answer as what you would see in this, basically doing the exact same thing. Okay, so now let us do an even weirder one. The commission would be even more difficult. So for the commission here, the commission percentage, you would have to actually say equals, first off, you're going to need your E4, I'm sorry, E5 on this line, and then you would divide. Now, the divide by is all of the stuff that makes up F4, which is B4 times C4 plus E4. Now, if you just type that up that way, B4 times C4 plus E4, or B5, C5, E5 in this case. If you type it up that way, PEMDAS is going to do some really screwy stuff, okay? And you're going to get a number that is very different than the previous number, and it really shouldn't be. And the whole reason that it's screwed up is because you said to do it this way. And the first thing that happens is E5 divided by B5. And then that small fractional number is multiplied by C5 and then added to E5. And then that's all given into a percentage, okay, which means it's even bigger than before. So what the problem is that all of this stuff is supposed to happen first. So you need to put parentheses around this stuff to make this happen before you decide to take E5 and divide by that number, okay? Now you get a much more reasonable number, okay? Now, would you like to edit this to make it easier and simpler and not as confusing? Well, for starters, highlight what you need, okay? Get into the cell by double-clicking. Highlight what you need to do something with. Now, you can delete it and then click on what you need or type in what you need, press enter. Or let's say like for this one. Oops, right here. No, right here. Okay, instead of B5 times C5, you can just highlight it and click on what you need, and then that works too. Okay, so you could delete it, or you could just highlight it and click on something else. You know, and that erases it and replaces it. Okay. Now, as with all formulas, if you've got a formula like this, B4 times C4, and you know that that same formula is going to be used in the lines below it, same kind of way, except you're just replacing the line 4s with the line 5. So B4 C4 becomes B5 C5, B6 C6, B7 C7. Okay, there's an easy way to do that. Notice your little green outline here, and notice you have a little green square. That little green square is called the fill handle. I like to call it the copier tool because that's what it does. It copies stuff. But the technical term for it is the fill handle. Okay, F-I-L-L, handle. Okay, so you take this formula that you know is good for this line and will be good for those lines, and you copy it down. Almost. There we go. Sometimes you got to be careful with it. Copy that formula down to all the other cells that can basically use the same formula. And if you notice, you got B4 C4, and then on the next line, it automatically updated itself to B5 C5 because it figured out that you don't really want to see B4 C4 like 5 or 6 times. That's stupid. Okay, so it updates itself for every single line with that line's number. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than what I've described it as, but basically that's what happens. If you are looking at a formula that looks at these two right across from it, the next line down is going to basically do the same thing, and it's going to change it to where it's looking at the things that are across from this line. Okay, so the copying tool can also be used for multiple things at the same time as long as they're all going in the same direction. Okay, very simple, very easy stuff. Double click on any line that's got an issue with how big it is compared to how big it needs to be. Okay, you take a column, you go to the right hand side, you double click, and it should adjust itself to the right size for the stuff inside the cells. Okay, this total right here, super simple, super easy. We're just going to add these things up here. A quick way to do that, see this funky looking E character right here? That is actually called a sigma. Okay, it is a Greek capital letter S, if you can believe it. But in mathematical terms, it basically means add stuff up. So click on it, and then you get some F4 to F7. Now, that's a great way to do things. If you ever go and buy more stocks and you insert a new line of stocks and you go ahead and put information into there, and it automatically updates. Now, if you don't do that, like let's say, for example, you've got this column of 4 here that you want to add up, and you just do a sum, like not a sum, you do like an actual tell it what to add kind of operation. So you do this cell plus this cell plus this cell plus this cell. Okay, guess what happens whenever you add in a new line with some new stocks? You're buying some USA stocks for $10. Okay, and you bought 500 of them. 2 minutes. And then you just, let's just copy all of this information, the formulas, and also the, what are you doing? 1995 cost value. Okay, so you can see this one did not update. Okay, there's a blank spot here because this is not the kind of thing that updates itself. It will add exactly the cells that you told it to add. Whereas this line right here, the sum line, it knows that it needs to add everything from this top line to this bottom line. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. The sum will automatically update itself to get everything from top to bottom, whereas the thing where you told it exactly what to add up, it does not update itself and it does not put that thing in there. So you're kind of messed up on that one. Okay, so the sum function is a good way to make sure that that works properly. Okay, so that's entering functions, using arithmetic operations, editing formulas, and making sure that you got PEMDAS done correctly. Okay, and copying a formula using the fill handle. Okay, all right, that's it for lesson 7. Good times. Hope you had all your questions answered there, and I will see you next time.